your day. This is the People's Parliament. And of course, this is a program meant for Kwabamite and Nigerians to turn to the government and express their discomfort, perhaps their comfort at any given point in time. My name is Victoria Johnson. Call me the House Leader. And of course, 19th of August, that is on Wednesday, just a day after tomorrow, the campaigns kickstart, and it's time that, most Nigerians have been waiting for. And of course, so that they can express their franchise for the 2027 election in Nigeria. You see what happened in the OSUN State's, governorship election. Well, talking about the OSUN State election, that is going to be our focus today in the update. Of course, you know that Saturday's election in Osun State was a typical manifestation that Nigeria, of course, can still practice free, fair, and credible election. This is actually what most Nigerians, had to say after that election. And Governor ADELEKE, who happened to contest against 14 other candidates, in which two candidates were majorly projected, was Bola Oyebamiji from All Progressives Congress APC and Najim Salam of the African Democratic Congress ADC. Governor ADELEKE won the election with 511,067 votes, and of course the other party, talking about the All Progressives Congress candidate, also pulled 444,815 votes. And of course, you know that the winner eventually emerged, which is Governor ADELEKE. Now, this is what happened, and most Nigerians were talking. Now, the Osun State's governor won in about 19 local government areas out of 30 local government areas of Osun State. Now, even before the governor, got to this victory, do not forget that this was a re-election on his own side, even before he got to victory. There were so many discomforts and, agitation erupting from, the election, as the governor, outrightly said that the APC is trying to rig the election. And of course, a certain police officer, sent in from Port Harcourt to Osun State, he was deployed, and his major duty was to shoot gun and scare away voters from different polling units. I think from in Ede only, from that particular polling unit, saying that he is popularly called London. Now, the governor said he received a phone call, giving him a first-hand information about this particular police officer. And then he was saying that he's calling on security agencies to take note. He also said that he's calling on the Inspector General of Police to also take note. He went ahead to also say that the APC brought him, that he should be redeployed, that he as a whole does not need violence in Osun State. And then there were so many other aspects of this. Now, we have this, right on, documented on a video and an audio. We would definitely like you to listen to this, because it's very important that you're not just hearing about this, but you also have to, hear this from the horse's mouth. Now, before this governor, went to the corners of victory, there was so much. You could see the tension. You could feel the tension from his voice. You could feel the tension from everywhere. And most persons were like, what's going on? And many Nigerians I know, they were scared that this particular, election may be even nullified or perhaps being rigged by the opposition party. But you know that the reverse was the case. And what was meant to be actually came to pass. Now, you see situations whereby there were so many other things going on. Now, we saw situations whereby a particular police officer also in the polling units, had to discharge tear gas to scare away people, and then the governor also complained about it bitterly. And then when the police officer was apprehended, he said that he was trying to urinate, and then the tear gas fell off his hand. And then most Nigerians were actually looking for such situations, scenarios to hijack, to make comments over. And they were like, how could a full-grown man, and I want to believe that tear gas has a procedure before it's even popped open. How can a full-grown man say that this happened? And you know that that particular police officer was apprehended and then kept in a police custody, because now the police as a whole, the Nigerian police were also of the fact that they are not the ones responsible for this, that this is totally very, very wrong, and they do not agree to this kind of, discomfort in that polling unit. Because, of course, when this tear gas, was open, a lot of voters, right, they had to run away. And then you know that this has a way of reducing a credible vote in an election. But then Governor Adeleke still came out victorious in the midst of all of this. Now, there's so many discomforts right here. But then, I like to play this particular one for you, especially the one you talked about, that he's suspecting the election being rigged in some part and is not comfortable with the way they are voting, with the way they are voting, that is very, very uncomfortable. So we're going to play this, all right, for you to listen to.
My civic duty, I voted, and as of now, things are going on mostly. I hope it stays that way. But I have it on authority information that there is one police officer that they brought to come and do an urgent job, the APC OSUN, from Port Harcourt. They call his nickname London. He's here in Ede hiding. His own job is to come and destroy Ede and then avoid, so that he can scare people, shooting, so that they will not vote. So I'm calling the Inspector General of Police to take note. I'm calling all the security agencies to take note. They should redeploy him. We don't want him in OSUN. We don't want violence in OSUN. All we want is free and fair election, so that people can perform their civic duty. That's one. And two, the pattern of voting should be from unit to ward and to local government. Not that they will take local government connection straight to state capital. That is not acceptable. That's a form of rigging. And I heard it on the authority that the APC have, tried to rig some fake ballot papers. I want OSUN people to watch out for that. And then we don't accept. Well, we will not accept that in OSUN. Right now, as I'm voting right now, I just received a call in Modakeke and Obaku that police is aiding them to tear gas them so that people can run away. And people are resolute. They just want to perform their civic duty. Let the security agency please be neutral and watch it. But I can assure you, at the end of the day, I have God on my side and I have my people on my side. I'm going to win this election.
You have just voted. The process has just been done.
Well, I do not know what to make out of that audio you just listened to, but you could feel the tension from the very horse's mouth, okay? You could feel, in fact, if you're watching it in a video, you could see how he felt. Okay, most Nigerians were just asking questions, and the other way around, you could see where, Davido, the nephew to Adeleke, was putting up different, dramas, staging, pointing fingers to even the Senate president. And even before he could come from, London, from the UK, that he actually went there to, have a he entered Nigeria and went straight to OSUN State. Even before then, he uploaded on his handle saying that, of course, that OSUN State, that he's seen that security officers are going to stop him from entering. And most persons also had different reactions to that. Most persons were saying, why should that be? But other persons also say, but that on a normal day, this is how election goes, that definitely there will be restriction of movement. And this is not particularly for you, Davido, but you could see the agitation. You could see the restlessness. You could see so much of mixed feeling from this family towards the election. One thing that we know that they were so scared of was for this government, was for this power to be hijacked from them as the incumbents. You know that it's not easy for anyone to take this. I'd like you to be a part of this conversation at a time that I will mention the phone line to you. But you know that every of those things that occurred is one of those things that, a full-fledged election will definitely experience, as of the one that we saw in the 15th August election in Osun State. You see that even when this happened, all right, so many, scenarios. Imagine the one that happened that a police officer had to go to a polling unit and then, pop open a tear gas, and then he claimed that this actually happened as a result of the fact that he wanted to urinate, and then the tear gas fell off his hand and of course popped open on its own. And then Nigerians are asking a very simple question: how could a tear gas pop open just like that? This is actually very much, impossible. But that the Nigerian police had, apprehended the officer and say, okay, that they are keeping him in their custody to find out if there are other wrong motives to this effect, if this is actually not what really happened in that particular center. If what he's saying is what happened, fine, they will still find out. But if it is not what happened, they will as well find out, okay, if at all he had other motive to this effect. But that in the midst of all this chaos, in the midst of, time will not permit us to talk about so many discomfort that happened. I'm trying to let you know that in an election, definitely, these things will definitely come to be. But that victory will always stand out. And then we have the governor of Osun State, pulling this massive vote. And that there's so much that, the margin is quite large. He defeated, the APC candidates, okay, by 66,252 votes. You can imagine the wide margin. You will not tell me that is anyway a mean feat. He actually, was able to score that high because of what? Now, that there is always a day of reckoning. There is always a day that the people of the state will be the only one to re-elect you, perhaps in your second term as a governor, perhaps in your second term as a president of a nation. Now, one thing that this particular election has drawn to so many Nigerians is a lesson, and it's what we're going to be really dealing with, okay, in our motion today. But before then, I would like you to hear the songs of victory and of course the songs of joy erupting from the corners of the Accord Party, talking about Adeleke here.
And growth under my renewed 5-point agenda. At this point, I must deeply appreciate Mr. President, His Excellency, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his strong support for a free and fair election. Mr. President is a son of Osun State, and I hereby reaffirmed my earlier endorsement of him second term in the 2027 presidential election.
Well, you know that even the governor of Osun State, okay, he was so, exhilarated, the entire family as well. And of course, he also made a statement that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has called him. We do not have the time to play all the videos for you. Has actually called him to congratulate him that he expect also the APC candidate that he defeated to also call and congratulate him. But as of now, we do not know what, we don't know, because before you even came on the microphone, we know that even the APC governorship candidate has not called Governor ADELEKE yet to congratulate him. And most Nigerians are smelling jealousy. Most Nigerians are saying, why should this be? A lot of dignitaries in Nigeria, government officials, politicians have paid a visit and even congratulatory messages to the governor, elect. So why is he not, congratulating him? When, remember when even the incumbent president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was overthrown by the former President Muhammadu Buhari of blessed memory. You know that immediately Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, of course, is always seen and always hoped to be so, congratulated him. That is to show that, you won over me. It was an election. It was a combat. It was a competition. And one winner must surely emerge. And also, I am ready to work in tandem with your government to see that we have a good democracy in Nigeria. I'm ready to work in tandem with your government to see that we have a good democracy dragged out in Osun State. But hey, we are not hearing or seeing that coming from the corners of the APC candidates in Osun State. And Nigerians are asking questions, what's going on? Before we move to our next scene, which of course is going to be the Today in History, I'd like to also give you this information that NDLEA arrests businessman with 23 million cocaine at Lagos airport. You can imagine this. This is coming as a breaking news. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a 48-year-old businessman, Nwankwo Oyebuchi, with 550 kg of cocaine concealed in the walls and railings of his luggage at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The NDLEA, Director, Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, disclosed this in a statement issued on Sunday. Now, he said, Onyebuchi, who deals in marbles in Lagos, was arrested at the departure hall of Terminal 2 of the airport while attempting to board a Qatar Airways flight to Delhi, India. You can imagine this. And right now, to cut the long story short, in a nutshell, he is right now in detention. He is right now in police custody. But you know that you should always trail the path of, you should always trail the path of, upright. You should always stay fair in your path, in your ways of doing things. You should always trail that path of doing the right thing in the society. Because when we talk about corruption, it's not just about politicians. You as a citizen, you also have a way of projecting corruption into the society. And we are actually saying that this is totally wrong. As a citizen, you should always trail that path of doing what is right and showing good example, highly worthy of emulation. And of course, this is all I will have in my corner for you this morning on the updates on Planet Radio 101.1 FM, People's Parliament. Up next will be Today in History. My name remains Victoria Johnson. The People's Parliament continues right after Today in History.
Planet Radio 101.1, your reliable companion for the latest in politics, sports, news, music, and events around the world.
Good morning. Before we dive into today's politics, we go back because to understand power today, you have to know how it was used yesterday. On August 17th, decisions were made, leaders rose and fell, and policies were signed that still shaped governance, diplomacy, and democracy around the world. This is today in history. On this day, August 17, 1941, the former Nigerian military president, General Ibrahim Babangida, was born. He usually marks his birthday privately in his hilltop mansion in Minna, as so many Nigerian politicians, dignitaries were there to utilize him. His home has become a maker of thought for those who aspire to lead Nigeria around his birthday. During his 84th birthday last year, President Bola TINUBU congratulated him, praising his infrastructure projects like the Third Mainland Bridge, economic reforms, and the creation of SSS, NOA, DIA, and FRAC. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan called him a visionary leader and celebrated his dedication to Nigeria's growth. Chief Bode George described him as a patriot, visionary, and selfless leader. Also, Olowo of Kuta said history will be kind to him and referenced the launch of IBB autobiography with testimonies from President TINUBU, Dangote, Elumelu, etc. Now, during Babangida's 82nd birthday in 2023, President TINUBU saluted him for his defense in the Civil War and contributions like state creation and liberalizing, the media. During his 75th birthday in 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated him for his service and commitment to Nigeria's unity. Atiku also praised him for developing the FCT and reducing political parties to two. Now, we are still talking about the former Nigerian president, Ibrahim Babangida, who was born today in the year 1941. Now, of course, we are not done with that. Now, you also see that big gatherings in Minna with Uche's secondus, Aminu Tambuwal, Bukola Saraki, Udom Emmanuel, Peter Obi, and Edes. And of course, Governor Udom had to say that this is one of the leaders who succeeded in uniting the country. Governor Tambuwal called him a man of inestimable value for Nigeria. And then, you know that the governor, this particular military, president created Akwa Ibom State and Katsina State out of Cross River State and Kaduna State respectively. Now, the people of this area had agitated for a separate state since the 1940s through the Ibibio Union after being part of southeastern states and Cross River State since 1967. They intensified lobbying under Babangida, but you know that this actually happened when Babangida came out and said, this is time for you to have your state owned in Akwa Ibom land. And of course, people also ask questions, why is this particular area a popular place in Akwa Akwa Ibom State being called IBB Avenue. Of course, this place was named after him to honor the person who created Akwa Ibom State. General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida was military president when Akwa Ibom, carved out of Cross River State on September 23, 1987, was created. And of course, we go a long way to say that this is to thank him publicly. Naming a major road in the state capital called IBB Avenue after him is the state's way of immortalizing that he was actually the very pace-setter and the founding role of the state. Away from that, on August 17, 1960, Gabon gained independence from France after over a century of colonization. It's in Central Africa, bordered by Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, and Congo. Libreville is the capital. Since independence, Gabon has had just 3 presidents, with Omar Bongo ruling over 40 years. The country celebrates Independence Day every 17th of August. And finally, today in history, on August 17, 1945, Sukarno proclaimed Indonesia's independence from the Netherlands. Today it's celebrated as Indonesia Independence Day, the most widely observed national holiday on August 17th. And that is all I have for you in my corner on Today in History on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. Thanking you so much for staying tuned. Of course, immediately after this, the People's Parliament continues with Mr. Speaker himself. You know, he always comes with a very different vibe. And I hope that you take a cup of tea or a coffee and cross your legs and be ready for so much of deliberations on topical issues today on the People's Parliament. My name is Victoria Johnson.
It's simple. We lead, they follow. Planet 101.1 FM. That's just who we are.
I say Lafarge don't change name.
Yes, now. Lafarge Africa PLC don't transform. Come become HBM Nigeria PLC. The name don't change, but now still the same Ogbonge Cement and other building solutions company. We help build Third Mainland Bridge, National Assembly Complex, First and Second Niger Bridge them, Cocoa House, National Theatre, plus plenty of construction for this we country since 1960.
HBM Nigeria,
HBM Nigeria PLC, formerly Lafarge Africa PLC, Beyond Buildings.
Hallelujah, Hosanna. Praise the Lord. Joy to the world. Our Lord has come. The earth received her King. King Jesus must be celebrated every day because he isn't a seasonal king. He is King of kings and Lord of lords, the one and only landlord, Obonganyong Yang Yisong, the only creator. It is written, if any man love not the Lord Jesus my Christ, let him be anathema, cursed. 1 Corinthians 16 verse 22. He is God forever. He controls all creation. Arise, let us adore him, worship him in spirit and in truth from now. Then life more abundant is yours forever. Happy new life. Shalom. Akemini Ubongo Basi Abraham. Prophetic voice of redemption. To God be the glory.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on these websites: websites www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SAC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Announcer, FSRCC.
It's simple. We lead, they follow. Planet 101.1 FM. That's just who we are.
Hello, good morning Akwa Ibom, good morning Nigeria, good morning Africa, and good morning parliamentarians. It's such an exciting day to be back and look at the dwelling talking point around our political terrain in Nigeria and the excitement that comes with it. This morning, a key talking point definitely will center around the OSUN election. And most importantly, many people look at the pros and the cons that comes with it, lessons that we have to learn ahead of the 2027 election. Many congratulatory messages towards the governor and for the governor and the OSUN people. Many have said that democracy has won. I don't know how far. Many have said it's also a game of chess. Giving out the pawn in order to target 2027 election. It would be all of these packed together in today's discourse to see which direction we're going to towards 2027 and what we can learn altogether from the OSUN election. Similarly, we'll look at it from a Akwa Ibom perspective also. What does this mean for Akwa Ibom, the trajectory of politics so far, and then the different investments under Governor Omo could be a talking point this morning. Without taking too much time, quick introductions. My name is Blyden Ukem, the Speaker of the House. Well, quickly, if we look at the time now, it's 12 minutes past the hour of 9. And we're jumping straight to the plenary and the motions. But first, I want to welcome everyone, all the parliamentarians, to do well to join a conversation this morning. And the number to follow through, 0806-804-5443. I repeat, 0806-804-5443. Likewise, send us a message via WhatsApp and go to our Facebook page, the one with the blue tick, Planet Radio 101.1 FM. Ensure you send your comments through the Facebook page. And the WhatsApp number is 0902-223-1010. 1. I beg on you to sit tight and join a conversation. Let's explore everything that took place over the weekend, and let's also have a picture of what could happen even further moving to 2027 election. What are the angles to look forward to? And for everyone joining us via social media, online, Radio Garden, I want to welcome you to the show all across the world, from Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, all angles, and in Europe and the Americas, Oceania region. Welcome to the People's Parliament's plenary. So I'm not alone in the house this morning. House leader, still with me for company this morning. House leader, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. It's good to have you.
So good to have the house leader have a conversation after.
I want to believe you had a good weekend.
Yeah, I did. Just following proceedings from what's really happening anyway. But quite interesting to really talk about all of this and unpack out everything that's happened. Well, on the other hand, we'll have a parliamentarian to the core in this one. I love to call him a comrade. Citizen Okono joins the conversation this morning. Citizen Okono, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's good to be here.
Fantastic to have you. Well, let's quickly start by rolling out the plenary motion before we enter the main discussion itself. Motion 1 in plenary today. OSUN election. We'll look at the pros, cons, and key lessons for INEC ahead of 2027 as TINUBU congratulates ADELEKE and says polls reaffirms strength of Nigeria's democracy. A second motion for the day pictures that Governor Omar Eno inspects IBOM A's third brand new AIRBUS A220-300 in Canada. A big question around this would be what the implication is for the Akwa Ibom economy and tourism. It would be a holistic conversation this morning. So let's begin with the first motion this morning. Osun State electoral history is defined by highly competitive transition. We're talking about landmark judicial intervention and its status as a critical off-cycle election terrain in Nigeria. Since the state's creation in 1991 Osun, voters have frequently demonstrated a fierce independence, shifting political alignment between progressive coalition and conservative parties in that regard. If you cast your mind back from the Third Republic Foundation, 1991-1993, we see Osun carved out of the old Oyo State. On August 27, 1991, in January 1992, Ishaka Adeleke of the Social Democratic Party was elected the first civilian governor. The military interruption also took place, his administration being cut short in November 1993. But if we return at the return of democracy, which spanned 1999 to 2007, following Nigeria's transition to the Fourth Republic, Bisia Kande won, and on and on and on. I've recast our mind even to judicial intervention in the off-cycle era in 2010 and 2018. Even further to this era where ADELEKE and the shift of realignment 2022 till present, Ademola Adeleke PDP returned at the time to defeat the incumbent Ayatollah, pulling massive votes. And in 2026 election, we're talking about a recent off-cycle poll held on August 15, 2026. Governor Ademola Adeleke secured a historic second term, notably doing so well in that regard. When you look at the numbers, clearly beating Bola Yebamije in this one by 511,067 to 444,815 votes. So, Citizen O'Connor, I'll start with you. We've seen the election, the most touted election, all the energy that took place from the beginning of it. Many people are dead in the course of this election, but at the end of it, during the election day, it seemed like peace returned, and many have said the people won. At the end of it, Question I want to start from what you made of the entirety of the election and what we could learn from it.
Thank you for giving me this honor to share my thoughts on the just concluded Osun State election. What took place in Osun State was more than a governorship election. It was a referendum. It was a test of a people's resilience, a people's brilliance, a people's courage in the face of monumental intimidation and something worse than that. I won't mind the term that I use. And I want to say that being a public affairs analyst and a good governance advocate, looking at the things that transpired under Adeleke's governorship in the last 4 years, those who know will rate him as one of the most traumatized governors in Nigeria, just one of them. When you want to count people that have been traumatized, you need to look at people like Samuel Otom of Benue State. In particular, I don't want to bring in Fubara because he's showing made his rating to be something that we cannot classify. We're talking about people who are ready to face the powers that be head on and then to produce results. Adeleke give it to him. People may not be aware. Adeleke faced 15 months of battle on getting local government funds, which had been impossible. The federal might ensured that local government funds did not get to him. And when they started coming, they were going to those that had defected to the APC, direct to the chairman. That's a story for another day completely. And then other factors. And by the time the party that he came on board, being the PDP, had issues, a report that our governor was among the first to defect, citing that he wants to secure his second term. He does not want stories. And naturally, people need to look for special purpose vehicles. And we are aware that Adeleke had desired to possibly join the APC, but because the man he defeated to become governor, who is said to be the nephew of Mr. President, you know, Mr. President is originally from Osun State, and his nephew, Muega Yetola, was the governor, but was defeated. He could not make a second term. And the story is that Muega said, Mr. President, don't worry, we are going to defeat him. We can't allow him to come and continue. He will make us look kind of stupid that we are not on ground. And Mr. President must have bought into it, and they picked a candidate. Some people said that the candidate they picked was not the popular candidate for them to even pick, but people, they have their choices. They are the godfathers. They determine who they can pick and give ticket for whatever purpose. But be that as it may, the federal might, the EFCC freezing of the account of the state government, whether one account or half account, was equivalent to a declaration of a state of emergency. And I personally condemned it. I was on there with you. I condemned it there.
Absolutely.
And eventually, less than 24 hours after Mr. President described that, very embarrassing for such a thing to have happened. Partly because of the backlash. Because there's no way EFCC could have gone to a state to carry out such havoc without the commander-in-chief knowing. And eventually he distanced himself. But to be sure, nobody gets punished. Nobody has been punished for it, no matter the level of embarrassment that Mr. President got from there and the country and the global community. But that is aside. Okay. Going into the election, I personally had prayed that if not for anything, the mentality that there is something called federal might. Anybody that you hear talk about federal might to determine the direction or who gets in or out of office, know that that person is not a Democrat. Federal might means oppression. When a superior force is not used with decorum, it becomes tyranny. It becomes terrorism. So when I listen to people brag about federal might, I see them as one of the problems of society who must be solved. So my prayer, earnest prayer, was that the people of OSUN should stand by ADELEKE, so that even at the end of the day, the result will have been written like it has happened in some certain cases, where results are written and they are not in line with what the people voted for. I said that ADELEKE will keep on dancing. I am pleased to be alive to witness what happened. As busy as I was over the weekend, very busy, I made sure I kept up with what was happening. And when I saw a number of polling units, uniform people were cutting away materials, tear gas here and there, alarm was being raised by the governor himself, like you had clearly said here, or the House leader had mentioned.
Yes.
People imported the London from Port Harcourt, and the two thugs, or they call them hype men, from Edo State, who were bragging with security men around them, saying that they are finished, they are going to do this, they are going to do that. I'm sure you must have seen the video. Very crude. And then the father on sees Ango, a man who spoke in Yoruba. I speak and write in Yoruba. I heard him clearly that any person coming to vote for our court should be fired.
Yeah.
The video is there. Thank God the police invited him.
He came out to deny.
So they left him.
They said that's not
and
what
he
meant.
went back. Yeah, he went back to election day. The video again trended where he said that his people should be checked what people are voting. What does that mean? So that they, maybe, dealt with for not voting, who they had intended or programmed them to vote for. But everything is right before us.
Right.
What is that? That people were singing songs, that the 50,000 has entered the fire, 50,000 or 30,000 has entered the bush. Yeah? And one of those chants that I love so much is that we want to vote. It's not war we want to fight.
Yeah.
Women, youths, men. That is something to write home about.
All right.
That power resides in the people. I want to thank INEC, because it's one thing for you to vote. I think somebody that said that who votes does not matter. It is who counts the votes.
Okay. So, Citizen Okono.
Election result can be announced immediately after voting. The voting was on Saturday. By Sunday morning, we got the result. That is how it should be.
All right. Let's look at it.
I'm very happy that the model has been set, not just for Nigeria, but for Africa.
All right.
That, this is possible.
Okay. Good perspective you've given in terms of an overlook, an overview of the elections. Phone lines are buzzing in a short while. We'll get to go to the phone lines. But Citizen Okono, something happened after the victory. Yes, the governor danced and extended the olive leaf to the opposition parties. He said, come, let's make Osun State work. Let's contribute ideas together. But one interesting thing caught the attention of everyone when Governor ADELEKE came out on his first speech after victory. He said he thanked the president for making this happen and all of that. Many Nigerians were so upset because many looked at it and said he's speaking against the will of the people, that people really fought for this one. Why thank the president for it? Yes, he's spoken about his support for the president based on the fact that the president is from OSUN State. I don't know where your sentiments lie on that opening victory speech.
You must know the psychology of persons who are highly exposed and who, for certain necessity to be politically correct, would say something. That does not foreclose what the people know about the position of Mr. President. We are currently working on a kind of a documentary because Mr. President, we had known him to be a Democrat. He fought during the Nadeko years. Though some persons said he was also trying to lobby for appointment, whether he not come, he now decided to join fully and all of that, but that's not the issue. But as president, the kind of statements or philosophy Mr. President has adopted is not something that should ever be encouraged. It should be resisted with every might, with every breath. For instance, in 2023 elections, you heard when he was sharing his thought with his close people. And like I said, the age of leaders are their worst enemies. Something that will have ended within that small circle. Somebody was proud to video and he put it out. And what did Mr. President say in 2023? That they grab it, snatch it, and run with it. Political formula. This is what he said exactly. He said, study the anthropology of it. Where are we? Political power is not going to be served in a restaurant. It is not served a la carte. This is what we are doing. He's been determined to do it at all costs. Fight for it. Grab it. Snatch it. And run with it. And the letters that he told the Catholic Bishops Forum, that all is fair in politics. And then, ahead of the election of OSUN State, he had a meeting with about 60, 70, or maybe 90 core people in OSUN State. By the time they left the meeting, they were so inspired. And like I want to quote the veteran journalist, Reepo, when five House members wanted to impeach Governor Emmanuel in Akwa Ibom State, he said this was the courage to do nonsense. People came out and had the courage. A sitting senator could order his followers to fight people that are coming to vote for a court. And then there's a House member who has been in the House for 5 terms. He has gotten ticket to go for, I think, the 6th term. He has been name dropping the president's name, that it is all over. And then there is a post he made on X where he portrayed ADELEKE as an imbecile, with spit dripping from his mouth. I have it. In fact, I have tears in my eyes as I'm talking. Very crude.
Most politicians talk carelessly.
Were too sure of overrunning OSUN. So, Mr. ADELEKE or Senator ADELEKE, thanking Mr. President, for me, it is something that I have learned by myself. I have worked with certain persons who could not produce results, but I produce results for them and give them credit. Because leadership must take credit for good things and also bad things. But because you want to promote leadership, not because you are a sycophant, you want to tell them, this is who you should be. You produce results and give credit to them. It doesn't mean that the world does not know that they don't deserve it. but it is saying, Your Excellency, this is who you should be. So I want to appeal to people who are feeling bad. I have seen a number of posts. People are very angry. I say it's not necessary. Adeleke's family is one of the most organized families in Nigeria. They may have their weaknesses, but the family has bounded as one. And because God has also blessed them with wealth, none of them could be bought. I bet you. Look at somebody like Davido. Davido is a global icon because of his chosen field in music. He was tweeting a second. He called out the president that you are not a Democrat. While voting was going, because they said they wanted to withdraw military and the police so that the talks would take over. That was withdrawn. He called out, I think, Fabio, the president. Look at the number of governors that invaded Osun State with the Senate president. And look at the governor of Edo State, who shockingly to me, he was the chair, he was the secretary of the election, whether national, whatever committee, where the governor of Imo State, Zodima, was the chairman. Maimuru Bunu was a co-chairman, and the Senate president was also a co-chairman. Mr. Speaker, how many members of that committee? 292 or so member National Campaign Committee. And when you put up their aids, their security aids, I'm sure you had nothing less than 2,000 people who went to deliver Osun State. But they left by 2 a.m. and the crowd were there to boo them, call them only. It wasn't staged, spontaneous, but that is not to say politics is not a competition. It's a competition. But the crude nature and the kind of things said and done will remain an indictment, and the resoluteness of Osun people. You are aware that nothing less than 30-something to 40 or more people have been unalived. So even though we are celebrating, we must know that people have lost their loved ones.
Absolutely.
So some of them may never be known. I saw a particular video.
And so many arrested.
Where the military, a citizen confronted the military, 2 military officers, military as an army, with arms. He said, where are you going to? He said, they are going to the police. He said, you cannot go to the polling unit because you're not supposed to be there. And fight ensued. The video is there.
All right.
Ordinary citizens using their lives to protect their votes. And one, funny in the sense that it is as casual as that. While escorting the voting materials to the rack center, the driver of the bus was making call. The people on the bike said, stop making that call immediately. Don't make that call. That is the power of the people.
All right.
It is high time Nigerians must know that sovereignty belongs to the people, not the very few opportunists who have turned our states and our country to a place of ridicule, and democracy has been turned to monarchical democracy.
All right.
Where one person determines who gets into office or not.
Okay.
God bless the people of Osun State.
God bless the people of Osun State. So, Citizen Okono, we'll now go, not just for you, for parliamentarians that are set to join. We'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, let's do some marketing. And when we're back, the conversation continues. Look at the place of INEC. What was the different mentality in Osun State that made them get this victory, despite all the traumas that's taking place, and on and on and on, the role the people play, and what could happen. What do we learn from this moving to 2027 elections? It would be a conversation after this time out. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
You are the new Planet radio station.
I love it.
It's awesome.
revolving around you.
My brother, I hear say Lafarge don't change name.
Yes now, Lafarge Africa PLC don't transform, come become HBM Nigeria PLC. The name don't change, but now still the same ogbonge cement and other building solutions company wey help build Third Mainland Bridge, National Assembly Complex, First and Second Niger Bridge dem, Cocoa House, National Theatre, plus plenty HTRM construction for this we country since 1960.
HBM Nigeria, formerly Lafarge.
HBM Nigeria PLC, formerly Lafarge Africa PLC, Beyond Buildings.
Welcome back. Fantastic talking point we've been having. It's the People's Parliament, and my name is Blyden, Ukem, the House Speaker, House Leader, here with me for campaigning. We've been having discussion regarding the OSUN election, what the prospect is, what we learned from it, what really happened in the course of it, the pros and cons, and moving even further, what do we learn going to the 2027 election? We've been speaking with Citizen Okono, who's been giving perspectives to this. Somewhat somehow, they say charity begins at home. Have failed my House Leader in many ways. House Leader, forgive me, but I'm coming to you now, House Leader. So far, just to get your thought regarding the OSUN election before we go back to Citizen Okono, and then the parliamentarians get to join the conversation. House Leader.
Okay, I will say that what I witnessed during the weekend was actually what we would term as a free, fair, and credible election, irrespective of the fact that there were some persons who lost their lives. And of course, you know, prior to the elections, there are so many persons who were arrested. According to, you know, the police officer there, he said about, I think, more than 100 persons were in the police custody. But I must say that it was a well-deserved, you know, re-election, and I say a huge congratulations to Governor ADELEKE, because it was not a mean feat. I understand, you know, the tension behind such scene, a situation where you are the incumbent governor and then you are sensing another person coming to overthrow you, beginning from the different, you know, derogatory statements. I will call it derogatory because, I mean, how do you term that? You know that the senator representing OSUN East Senatorial District, we're talking about Francis Fadawunsi, in his comments that said in a video using Yoruba language, okay, that APC in Osun State should vote out. You know, according to him, he said he meant vote out. So I would not want to use it the way he used. But then, for clarity, because that is exactly what he said, let me use it the way he termed it. He said, kill them with your votes. He actually later said that that was metaphor. Okay, it was a metaphorical statement that when he said kill them, for instance, now you say maybe someone is looking all dressed up and beautiful and you're saying, wow, baddest, meaning that that person is just so beautiful. And then he was trying to defend himself after being called by the police for investigation, that why should you, because definitely alarm was raised from the corners of Accord Party, that why should you, you know, be sensing so much of intimidation, sending intimidation to our camp, that's the Accord Party. And then he came out to say that, you know, this is not what he meant and all of that. So beginning from this angle, and even from the EFCC shutting down the state's government, you know, accounts, show that a lot of persons would have been weak. But we saw Governor ADELEKE maintaining his calm right there. And then what will you talk about the police officer that, you know, one of the officers, when he was right there, and then he opened tear gas at the polling unit, and when he was apprehended, he claimed that he went to urinate and then the tear gas popped open. But we all know the procedures that before you open a tear gas, it's not just granite that is folded in a nylon, okay? It's something that is harmful to anyone and it will be highly protected. So how come the tear gas fell off your hand when you wanted to urinate and then it scared away so many persons in that polling unit? But thanks goodness that God, as he said, that was on his side, talking about Governor ADELEKE, because there were so many occasions that were erupting to make sure this election was rigged.
Right.
We saw that in different scenarios, these things were happening, but then it still came out, successful. And you can imagine the large margin, okay? You can imagine the large margin. Adeleke defeated the APC governor with 1,252 votes. So that is no mean feat in any way. I must say a huge congratulations once more to him.
All right, a huge congratulations to him. Well, I'll open the phone lines now. Big apologies for Anthony E in that regard. I was hoping to have him, but let's go to the phone lines and hear from parliamentarians before we return to Citizen Okono. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Hello, are you there?
Good morning, parliamentarian. Well, we lost him in that regard. Well, do well to send in your calls as fast as possible. Let's share in your thoughts. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Kingsley Celestin.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
My name is Kingsley Celestin. I'm calling from Okono State.
All right, go
Kingsley Celestin. Good to have you. Go ahead.
What really happened at OSUN State is a God victory, because God was on the side of Adeleke. If not for God, he wouldn't have won the election. We have tried to unseat him from that seat, especially the APC candidate. They have tried to unseat him from that seat. Their plan did not work. To the extent, even the senator himself, who used those words, he was not supposed to use that word, because a human being was here that word he used would have caused issues in the state. Before animal killings would have happened. But I really thank God victory was on his side for the state governor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the conversation this morning. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Anthony E.
Yeah, Anthony E. calling from you.
Welcome.
Mr. Speaker, I say congratulations to Adeleke for winning the state governor election. God was on his side. Again, Davido is making contributed to his victory. The electorate came massively, and there was evidence of vote buying. The electorate collected the money and voted with their conscience. Davido said politics run in blood, very laughable. He's a big giver indeed. Mr. Speaker, Mara must learn a lesson from this incident. Why can't he stick with a co-party than joining APC? Now they have used him and dumped him. Now I belong to Embo collection of Wike. Tobacco are giving rivers people good governance. Don't tell them Wike is not a god. He's a human being. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining the conversation, Anthony A. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Yeah, good morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. This is Engineer. I'm calling from you.
Engineer, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, really appreciate standing by Governor Adeleke. Aside whereby should look
Engineer, we're finding it very hard to make sense of what you're saying due to connection struggles. Probably, maybe I'll just give you a chance to try again, but if not, you might have to call us back. Just go ahead. Let's see if it gets better.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, a lot better.
All right. Now, what I'm trying to say is that Governor Adeleke won elected because God was with him. And it has gone a long way in sending a message. Different school of thought. All of the things that are transpired, we are also waiting to see if the law is going to catch up with those whereby the hammer of the law, or they are faulty in the law in one way or the other.
All right.
Yes. Now, if we juxtapose it with the upcoming elections, national elections, how are we sure that Nigerians will stand up because this is just a case of one state. Yes, this is just a case of one state, and all the focus was in Ukem state.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let us look at.
Engineer Young, are you there?
Network interference there.
Yeah, quite a big interference in there. You'll have to call us back as fast as you can. Let's see if we can get back to Citizen Okono, because quite interesting in that regard. Well, I tried to also get some of the messages from Facebook in that regard, but a few more calls before we talk to Citizen Okono again. Bro John says, good morning to you all. I will urge INEC to invest in electronic voting, vote buying, voters' intimidation, and lives that were lost or wouldn't have occurred using the system of running an election. Secondly, I urge Akwa Ibom State government to allow other aircraft carriers to compete with IBOM Air, else the monopoly control will affect Nigerians on choosing other alternative routes caused by price inflation. In that regard, Ma Olebara says, well, she's reaching us from Owerri. Dr. Mrs. Ma Olebara, the people of Osun had spoken, and so will Nigerians speak in 2027. It will no longer be business as usual, she says. We must vote and protect our vote. We cannot keep quiet and watch our democracy go down the drain if we don't speak out against evil in the country. We let it increase and continue. Anyway, that's what she's saying, basically. And back to parliamentarian before joining Citizen Okono. Good morning, parliamentarian.
Thank you very much. This is Engineer Yang calling back.
Engineer Yang.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, this is just a case of a state which is not the ruling party. Now, every other state in Nigeria is under the ruling party, APC. And if we want to look at it seriously, I think there was a very serious sensitization such that the people in the interior part of Osun State, when they voted, they had to wait and protect their votes. Yeah. So now, let us look at this from another state. Let's say, for example, Akwa Ibom State. In the interior part, which of the political party is lying? And what is the level of consciousness of the people? You know, no matter what we are going to, no matter how we are going to analyze it, poverty is a factor. So, have we done enough sensitization to go into the interior? Okay. Because when the people vote there, how are we sure that they will stand and protect their votes? Poverty is a factor.
All right.
I learned people who have been paid, who had collected up to 20,000 and still voted their conscience in Osun State. Can we have that in other states?
That's a question we can answer now. Thank you
for
the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the conversation. Good morning, parliamentarian. Good morning, parliamentarian. Quite a bit of a struggle there when it has to do with this one. We'll do well to get back to Citizen Okono as fast as possible. Before we talk to Citizen House Leader, let's look at parliamentarians who've talked about what has worked and what has not worked even further. But the other angle to look at is the place of INEC. People are looking at the discrepancies that happen for the BVAS, about 20% of them not working, but voter turnout was quite impressive.
Well, I will say that, you know, the reports we had was that in some polling units, okay, in the Osun State governorship election, that the BVAS were malfunctioning in those polling units. And funny enough, we keep seeing this occurring in different elections. And we know that when the INEC says that, okay, they are fully ready for election, and I believe that they should be fully ready. And then the cons right there that we saw, okay, the struggles were, you know, in terms of vote buying, reports of inducements at polling units. You know that we actually had lots of that going on. And then there were some logistics delaying, okay, late arrival of materials in some local government areas. And then in terms of voter education as well, it's more like, you know, the turnout in some areas due to maybe apathy or misinformation was not adequate, because we expected in some local government areas of Osun State, whereby that state is actually governed by about 30 local government areas, and we saw that in some local government areas, people were not turning out in their numbers, and that was misinformation, because there would have been an elaborate and well, structured out information that people should come out and vote. So in those areas is just what we actually, notice. In terms of also collation issues, we had some complaints about transparency, in terms of transparency in some collation centers. So security concerns as well, intimidation and harassment in some, polling units, in some centers. We were recording this, just as the one you talked about. Okay, I think the citizen Okono talked about where someone was going to vote and a security personnel was saying, come down from that bicycle. And we're not supposed to see that in a free, fair and credible election.
Citizen Okono, welcome back to the show. So let's continue quickly. The last part of the show, I think what we've really not looked at would be what next moving forward. What lessons have we learned from here, and how will this impact the 2027 elections?
It's important that we need to imbibe the lessons and then be able to raise our voices over landmines that have been placed on the path to a credible, free, fair election. Those landmines have not been laid by citizens. They have been laid by our leaders, the National Assembly, and the ruling party. What are some of these landmines? Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you are aware that there's a provision in the Electoral Act that says that anybody that presents a false certificate who is able to escape and contest and wins, that litigation cannot be post-election. And that's against the Nigerian Constitution.
Not good at all.
Mr. Speaker, you are aware that there's also a provision that fake ballot of critical INEC materials without INEC serialization and watermark can be used if the presiding officer deems it fit, allowing forgers to be able to use their materials to collect results. It sounds strange.
Not good at all.
And there are more.
In the coming days.
So now is the time.
Citizen Okono, in the coming days, we'll get to talk about the electoral laws and the weakness in it, and probably what the change could be. The ADC presidential candidate talking about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, he's taking the TINUBU to court amid fraudulent papers talking about school results in that regard. Let's look at, as we close, the state of INEC moving forward. INEC so far, what was the performance at the OSUN election, and does INEC seem ready moving forward to 2027 election based on what we saw on ground?
What was seen on ground, we cannot but also commend INEC. But before we commend INEC, we must know that the environment matters. OSUN and the West had been known as Wild Wild West. It was because of election rigging that led to Operation Wet here, which eventually led to the military taking over power. I was in Lagos, 1983 election, still the OSUN area, where rigging led to mayhem. Western Nigerians, the Yorubas, are too sophisticated, and OSUN people naturally are too sophisticated for any leader. If you call yourself leader and you want to use your position to oppress an OSUN person, including even look at what may likely happen in Oyo State. So the electoral body must know, just like Kano, the last election, the people went to INEC and waited. We have voted. We know the result already.
you dare announce any other thing and see what will happen. Until the people fear, and the government fears the people, there's no democracy.
All right.
When the people fear government, that is tyranny. And wherever you find tyranny, it is criminals.
Okay.
It is fraudsters that flourish.
Thank you.
And we must not allow that going forward in 2027.
All right. It's going to be an unfolding conversation, moving even further, taking a cue from the OSUN election and looking forward to the 2027 election. Many things to be unpacked. We can't talk about everything in one day, and that's why it's called the People's Parliament. And we'll get to talk about details of every bit of it, the coming days and the coming days and the coming days. Citizen Okono, thank you so much for joining the conversation and sharing your thoughts in Parliament.
I thank you for having me.
A massive conversation we've had with Citizen Okono in that regard. Big apologies to parliamentarians who've not been able to really call in cause of it. I'm not sure, maybe if I can take one more call in that regard. But House Leader, we've really spoken a lot in all of this. We've not really been able to touch the second motion, but just a tidbit on it. On the second motion, just Akwamu said Governor Pastor Mono successfully conducting the pre-delivery inspection of IBOM, a state brand new AIRBUS 8220-300 aircraft in that direction, which the inspection took place in Quebec, Canada, and quite exciting. A third one is coming. We're looking at a projection of 10. Just a tip on it, the viability of all of this, especially in the aviation sector and tourism.
Well, I want to say it's commendable, you know, that Akwa Ibom State's being seen as, you know, as a state that wants to be placed on a vantage point, especially from His Excellency. He says that he wants Akwa Ibom State to be a tourism hub for, you know, investors, for foreigners to come in and say, wow, this state is great and all of that. So I want to say is highly commendable, okay, and kudos to him, because we are actually seeing that in terms of tourism, His Excellency is trying all his best to make sure that he places the state at a limelight, and it is actually what we are, you know, we have been actually hoping to see. Okay, we had a governor in this direction who was trying to also do this. We're talking about the former governor Victor Otta, and also particularly the former governor Godswill Obot Akpabio, and we're also seeing His Excellency, you know, toeing in this direction. So we say, well, he was yes,
he really started IBOM,
Well, it was
so
an industrialized.
You can talk about the aviation sector without mentioning Udomi.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about those governors that really prioritize that. And I know exactly what I'm saying. Well, I know we do not have time to
I don't know what House Leader knows. What House Leader knows.
So I will just say kudos to His Excellency on that direction.
Okay. Thank you, House Leader. Massive conversation we're
having. And once more to OSUN election, the general lesson I feel that we Nigerians should draw from this election should be, prior to an election, especially the one that is coming in 2027 presidential election, we've seen even a cleric man came out to say that, okay, that he called Christians infidel, talking about Muslim tickets. Now, you will say that it is not about who talks the more that wins the election. It's about who maintains the calm. I will draw my lines and curtains from here.
All right. A fantastic thought pattern in that. I won't dwell on it. House Leader said everything, but a massive thank you to everyone who made this possible, and to parliamentarians who called in. Those who didn't call in, be assured tomorrow is another day. The People's Parliament will continue tomorrow. From me and the production crew, Blyden Ukem is my name, the House Speaker. I say thank you and bye-bye.
It's rising like the sun, and shining forth, sustaining life like never before. It will never set.